Yeah. So that's really good because I think the other thing is we always think about 0 to 100. It's like either you're not vulnerable with somebody or you're completely vulnerable, and there's a lot in between. So what I learned in therapy is have 2 vulnerable stories in your pocket that you could tell a stranger that won't scare them away. And that's a way to establish a bond. So one of mine, for example, is speaking about dogs. I had a dog growing up. He lived out his life for 11 years. Broke my heart to put him to sleep. But, he was 11 years old. His hips went. Broke my heart to put him to sleep. Avoided getting another dog. Became everybody's backseat dog owner, telling them how to raise their dogs. And then eventually somebody said, "Hey, there's this puppy available. Do you want it?" And I'm like, "No. I'm over dogs. I got to move to America and do all this." Eventually, Snap got the dog, and it made me so super happy. There's vulnerability in the story. Not enough vulnerability to scare a stranger away. And what happens is when you're vulnerable with somebody, the reason we fear being vulnerable is we fear judgment. We fear shame. But what I've realized is when I'm vulnerable with people, it invites them to be vulnerable with me. That may allow someone to tell me a story about a loss that they had. The other one is losing my grandmother, talking about, being a little kid and sleeping in the bed with her and tracing all the veins or the wrinkles in her hands and, just hearing her stories, not understanding what she said because she didn't have any teeth, and just this beautiful story and how much I miss her. Again, that allows someone to connect with you on a deeper level. You don't got to tell them all the shadow stuff, but you can work your way up.
Gotcha.
And I think that's a really important thing. Vulnerable, and again, being vulnerable with yourself. Being like, well, why did that thing that, Charlamagne said to me, why did that bother me? And write it out. And the easiest way to journal, here's a step-by-step way to journal. Pick anything, any event that made you feel anything, any energy. Write the event out, beginning, middle, end. Just write the event out. I went to the Breakfast Club, I had an interview, somebody made a joke about me and it made me feel a certain way.
And if he got a nose job, his nose didn't look like that last time.
I got thrown off by his nose job or whatever's clever.
Yeah.
My dad's got a CPAP, so I was reading your stuff and reaching it. So
yeah, that's polyps in the nose, and took all the polyps out, so I can breathe better now. So I
that's
don't care what he says about my nose job. It's not, but I'm happy for my surgery.
I appreciate. Yeah, that's dope. So step 1, just write about the event. Step 2, write about your feelings about how that situation made you feel. Just write them all out. However it made you feel. Made you feel upset, jealous, angry, happy, excited, whatever. You'll realize the majority of emotions we have are on the negative side because that's how we learn to survive. Step 3, look at those feelings that you wrote out and write your thoughts about it. And be like, okay, I understand. Okay, the reason I felt insecure about that is because the way he said it sounded like that kid in the 7th grade. Or the way, and then all of a sudden you start building this thing called self-awareness. You're picking up on your patterns. And now you realize you don't own your emotions. I am not happy. I'm feeling happiness. I'm not anxious. I'm feeling anxious. You separate yourself from it because every single emotion everybody has ever felt was impermanent. They all go away. Good ones and bad ones. So this journaling will allow you to be vulnerable with yourself and be honest with yourself, and you'll build a deeper connection with yourself. And then you'll be able to better articulate to other people, how they can be around you. And you're just setting boundaries, and your boundaries are about you, not about them.